Hi, guys. I know this is not ideal. Hopefully, we can get back to some sense of normalcy here in the next couple days. But what I wanted to do is take the time to explain the activities that we're going to be doing. So that way, there's as few questions as possible. I don't want you to have to rely on me to send you an email and vice versa. So we're going to start with the activity that you will be doing or that you were supposed to do yesterday. Okay. And that's the dead zone activity. And so if we look here, this activity is a continuation of the PowerPoint that I started last, what was that, Wednesday, about my experience in the Gulf of Mexico with NOAA and the dead zone. This activity specifically addresses what causes dead zones and what we can use through station monitoring around the ocean of indicators of when we're going to see a eutrophic event. Okay, so the first thing I wanted you to do here was to read this page and fill out these key terms here. Okay, plankton bloom, anoxic, hypoxic, eutrophication, and then nitrogen. Okay, and it's important that you guys make sure that you put these in your own words. Okay, I'm going to check to make sure that you aren't just copying and pasting these, because these are super important to how dead zones form, and it's very important that you guys have your own definition of these words. Okay. Now, let's go down to this graph here, or this figure here. Okay, so figure 1 is showing what is called the watershed of the Mississippi River. And for those that don't know, a watershed is just an area that runs off into a river. So all of these black lines are major rivers that inevitably find their way to the Mississippi River. So take a second and think about all of the rivers, all of the lakes, all of the farmland, all of the factories that find runoff right into this Mississippi River. As you can imagine, there's going to be a lot of excess nutrients like phosphorus and specifically nitrogen in that water. And the scientists of NOAA thought the same thing. So this was placed here, I believe, in 1993, and they wanted to look at excuse me, the specific impacts of this runoff into the dead zone. We've known the dead zone has existed since the 70s, but we haven't quantified how large it is up until now. So I want you to put yourselves in the shoes of NOAA scientists in the 90s. They really had no idea what they were going to see in 8 months of monitoring, okay? And that brings us down to this part. Okay, this is looking at 8 months worth of data in this singular location, okay, from April to November. And just a quick recap of what the article above is saying in the sense of helping you guys answer these questions is when we have this runoff, we have excess nitrogen in the water right around here, okay? And just as nitrogen acts as a fertilizer to plants on land, it acts as a fertilizer to plankton and algae in the water. So those aquatic microorganisms, those plants, are going to take in that nitrogen and grow at a really, really, really fast rate. And that's going to spread along the coast here in the Gulf of Mexico. Over time, though, those algae or that plankton bloom is going to die. They're going to pass away, and the natural cycling of nutrients is going to take over. And that's where decomposers like bacteria come in and start eating the dead plankton. And that's where we get this issue of dissolved oxygen, okay? Those bacteria require dissolved oxygen in the water in order to do their job. So they're going to take up oxygen that plants and animals in the water rely on. As they die, that oxygen goes away. And that's what forms these dead zones. Okay, I know that was a really quick recap, but if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. Now, moving down, after you've looked at these graphs, these questions here, numbers 1 through 9, relate to the graphs and your reading, okay? And you are to submit this on Schoology when you are done. Do not share it with me. If you've shared it with me, I'm going to just respond to your email today to put it back on Schoology so that way I have it all in one place. Okay, the why it matters here, guys, is just for you to look at and see why this is important. There's nothing that you need to explicitly do with that. Okay. Okay? And then after you have finished the dead zone activity, I have a quiz for you right here. Okay? And that is to be completed as a check for understanding, to see what you know and what you don't know. And if you have any questions about that, please don't hesitate to reach out. Again, I know this is frustrating, guys, but just bear with us, be patient, and hopefully we'll get back to some normalcy soon. Okay? Have a great day, everybody.